Imagine standing in front of a mirror, dressed for a party you didn't want to attend. Your stomach's in knots, your hands clammy, and the only thing louder than the thudding of your heart is the voice in your head whispering, "Why are you doing this to yourself?" But then imagine making a different choice. Imagine deciding that your peace matters more than keeping the peace. That's the crossroads I stood at when I told my husband I wouldn't be attending his mother's birthday party. And that one decision cracked open a storm I had been avoiding for years. Let me take you back. My husband and I have been together for 11 years. More than a decade of life built together. Homes, jobs, dreams, setbacks, laughter. And through it all, there's been one constant source of tension. One cloud that always hovered just out of reach. His mother. She's not evil. This isn't one of those stories. She's not a monster-in-law from a bad sitcom, but she has a way of speaking, a way of being that cuts into me. Sharp words disguised as jokes, passive-aggressive jabs layered beneath concern, disappointment worn like a perfume, thick and suffocating. And over the years, I've swallowed it. Every sigh, every side-eye. Every time she asked if I really thought that was a good idea. I smiled. I nodded. I told myself, this is what you do for family, for marriage, for peace. But peace has a price, and it started costing me more than I could afford. It came to a head just before her birthday party. The kind of big family gathering that demands smiles, small talk, and a willingness to sit through the slow burn of being politely picked apart. I looked at the calendar. The day loomed like a deadline. I felt my body tighten at just the thought of it. And I asked myself something I hadn't dared ask before. Do I really have to go? Not, should I go? Not, would it be polite to go? But, do I owe anyone a piece of myself I can't afford to give? I sat with that question. And eventually, I found my answer. I told my husband, calmly and clearly, I'm not going. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said the truth. I really don't feel like being berated, I said. And I meant it. I wasn't angry. I wasn't trying to cause a scene. I was just tired. Tired of showing up to places where I had to brace myself. Tired of pretending that the little digs didn't land. Tired of sacrificing my emotional safety in the name of appearances. And to his credit, my husband heard me. He didn't push back. He didn't guilt trip me. He just accepted it. Quietly. Respectfully. The party came and went. Photos were posted. Smiles were shared. But I wasn't there. And in my absence, the silence spoke louder than any toast or candle. Now, I find myself sitting with the aftermath. Did I betray a social contract? Did I let my husband down by not being his +1 at his mother's big day? Did I give up too soon on a relationship that could have been healed if I just kept showing up? Or did I finally draw a line that needed to be drawn long ago? There's no screaming in this story, no explosive fights, no cruel ultimatums, just a quiet decision. A woman saying, I don't want to be berated. I don't want to be uncomfortable in a place that's supposed to be warm. I don't want to pretend anymore. And yet, that kind of decision comes with a strange kind of guilt, because when you grow up in a culture, especially American culture, that preaches family first, it can be hard to realize when you need to come first. We're taught to endure, to bite our tongues, to be the bigger person. But what happens when being the bigger person shrinks you down inside? What happens when being polite becomes another word for suffering silently? I've asked myself that a lot in the past few days, and I don't have a neat answer. I don't know if skipping that party was the right thing or just the necessary thing, but I do know this. I felt peace, not just lack of conflict peace, but the kind of quiet, internal steadiness that comes from honoring your own boundaries. I spent the day reading, drinking tea, letting my body unclench, letting my mind rest. And in that stillness, I realized something powerful. Sometimes, choosing not to show up is the bravest thing you can do. Because it says, I matter too. It says, my comfort, my voice, my energy, they're worth protecting. And maybe that's selfish, or maybe that's survival. Maybe it makes me rude, or maybe it makes me whole. So, here I am, asking you, and maybe asking myself, am I the asshole? Was I wrong for choosing my own peace over tradition? Was I cruel for opting out of a celebration that would have left me feeling less than? Or was I just finally honest? And if that honesty made some people uncomfortable, well, maybe that's okay. Because maybe the people who love you shouldn't expect you to suffer in silence. Maybe real love makes room for boundaries. Maybe it celebrates the voice that says no just as much as the one that says yes. So I said no, and I'm still here, still married, still myself, still wondering what comes next and what healing might look like from here. But one thing's for sure, I won't apologize for listening to my gut, for choosing silence over small talk, for protecting my spirit, even if it meant stepping away from the party. So, again I ask, am I the asshole? Or am I just learning to love myself too? This story doesn't end with fireworks or applause. It ends in quiet. And sometimes, that quiet is the most courageous sound in the world. We don't talk enough about emotional safety, especially within families. We celebrate endurance, not boundaries. We reward those who keep showing up, even when it hurts. But healing starts when we listen to that still, small voice inside. The one that says, you don't have to go. You don't have to prove. You don't have to perform. Sometimes it's okay to say no. Sometimes that's the only way we say yes to ourselves. So now I turn it over to you, the listener, the community. What would you have done? Have you ever chosen distance to protect your peace? And more importantly, did it feel like freedom? Comment below. Share your story. Let's have the conversation we were never taught to have. The one where choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's sacred.